Hi, Muchismo Eugene. Welcome to another video from Exit Strategy. Please subscribe, like, share, give the video a thumbs up if you found it helpful. Pass it on if you believe someone else will benefit from it. I would appreciate that. Now, don't confuse your real feelings about the narcissist for ill feelings towards the narcissist. Your real feelings about that narcissist or towards them, either way you want to say it, don't confuse them with ill feelings for them. And a lot of people that you discuss and have discussed, first of all, people you talk to about this who truly can't wrap their brain around it, don't see it for what it is. It's a losing battle. It's a conversation that you're having with seemingly a brick wall. You're better off having a conversation like this with a brick wall. Maybe what you're saying may bounce back to you as what you're saying. It won't be confused or misinterpreted or misdefined. Because a lot of times when you share, not even mentioning to them that you were abused mentally and emotionally, psychologically, and even physically by a person with a disorder, you can just talk in practical terms, and even that will get you nowhere sometimes because they're not on that level. They're not there. You can say, you know what, this person is just treating me bad. They're mistreating me. They are using me. They're deceivers. They're lying. They're backstabbing. They're talking bad about me and lying to my family. People who are far reached and far removed from the realities of how deadly these type of people can be that do these type of things. All of these things that you're naming and these traits and these behaviors or whatever you're naming verbatimly to these people or these friends you consider confidants, they in turn will tell you, well, no, you can't hold grudges. You just got to move on with your life. It's often people who don't have a clue about what it looks like or means to go through something such as what you've gone through. It's one thing to not have gone through it. It's another for them to try to give you advice of just move on with your life and look past and don't look at that. Just, push it under the rug or that's behind you now. Easier said than done. And I think we've all at one point or another in our life have either said or done that in thinking that we're helping that person. First of all, the person didn't really ask you for your advice on how to get them out of that mindset quick, fast, and in a hurry. They pretty much wanted you there as someone that they can kind of confide in, listen, and just appreciate your ear. And if they would have a question for you at the end of their opening up, such as, what do you think? Then that is your opportunity to kind of advise them as to what you would do. That's the emphasis, what I would do if I was in your position. When a person has been traumatized and been through stuff, and then, like I said, we've all done it, we're ready to give that antidote. Just move on. I would just get away from them and keep it moving. That sounds good on the surface, but when you've invested so much emotional energy and time with a person, and you've given your heart, soul, and appreciation for them, and they do stuff like this, it's not easy to detach from that. And so that is what many people will make you end up feeling like. And a lot of times we do it to ourselves. We misinterpret what is real, that in real life, we really felt and we really lived through with this narcissist. We downplay it. And we move along with that matrix mindset, let bygones be bygones. But we know now, being abused by these demons and these succubus and these people in meat suits like this, we know that they are not the last one that will come for us. It all makes sense now. We know because we've distanced ourselves and we've gotten out of that nightmare situation, there will be many, many more coming. And so we understand what we feel is real. So we don't harbor ill feelings towards the narcissist, but we have real feelings about that narcissist or about that person, that toxic person. We may not altogether have realized or have determined that they are a narcissist. I am willing to believe most, if not every single disastrous relationship, because a relationship that just ends because two people just didn't seem to be able to I don't want to say compatible, but didn't seem to see eye to eye on a lot of things. And those differences, small as they might have been, are the straw that broke the camel's back. And they amicably, with a little bit of tension, anytime there's a breakup or a disconnect, there's a lot of emotional toll that it takes on a person. But they're not in vicious mode. They're not on the assault and counter assault. I've known many people when relationships didn't work out, they just decided either to be friends or just to like cease and desist. I have not been that fortunate. And this is why I know most, if not every one of the situations that I've been in, be it relationships, intimate or otherwise. And even with, male friends in a friendship, it ended in a lot of deep, disgusting, dark slander by them. It's always has been my determination that it has been a narcissist from what I know now. And so people will try to get you to believe and misdefine what you feel that is real about the narcissist as being you having ill feelings for the narcissist or towards the narcissist. This is a matter of real feelings versus ill feelings towards them. If you're healing, man, you don't have time to have ill feelings for them. Some of us say we wish them well. And I don't know if that's where I am with wishing them well. I don't wish them any ill. I don't wish ill on them. But I do pray like David prayed, that God deals with them speedily, such as I do with any type of evil. Nothing more, nothing less. And I just pray God will be done, because I know we're all going to give an account for the things that we do, both good and bad in this world, both great and small. And so I believe that, but I don't ask God specifics as to what I want him to do to them. It's not my call. And that is the one thing I don't unction towards God to do, because I'm not in a position to summon God and to give my dictates to what God should or shouldn't do. Because those are the dictates I'm suggesting he, bring upon them. I have to first start with myself. I'm grateful that, God didn't deal with me in ways that I know he could have. But being a loving God, which is a God I serve, that I've grown to believe is a loving God, he's slow to anger. Yeah, he's a God that wishes that none should perish, but all should come to know him. But unfortunately, that's not the reality. In this fallen world we're living in, and people are getting wickeder and wickeder by the minute. and they're loving their wickedness. And they encourage other people to do it. And so your real feelings about that narcissist, they're real. You know what you know about them. And so these are real feelings. And those real feelings include and are not limited to, the real is, this is a real feeling that I have about the narcissist, that they are a walking demonic entity. They are not to be trusted. They are not to be looked up upon. They are not to be so much looked down upon either, but they're definitely not to be looked up upon. They're not to be envied. They're not to be anyone that you should be jealous of if they seem like they're succeeding and you're not. These are real feelings. If they succeed in whatever they succeed in. I'm not going to pray against that, because if they are where they are, they're there until they're not. That is energy that is wasted upon the narcissist. But the real feelings that I feel and I have about them are the feelings that came from experience and front and center in the belly of that beast, living it. So this is where the real feelings come from. You know what you know. And so we don't harbor ill feelings when we get the education and the insight. But again, those friends and those people who you confide in, they will give you that quick fix. And they'll tell you, well, you can't harbor, you can't hate, you can't be harboring ill feelings. They would insert that terminology when all you're doing is expressing what that narcissist is taking you through. Those are your real feelings. And they translate that back to you as being ill feelings. Some would say it's insensitive as hell. Some of them I don't even know they do it purposely or not, because what they're doing is trying to project what they want to feel about people who have done them wrong. They want you to be able to quick, fast, and in a hurry get over the hump. Because what they've done is probably made peace pacts with the devil themselves. They have end up going back to that nightmare relationship when they know they shouldn't have. And so when they went back, it is a relationship that's built on rocky ground. And they're running around in front of people pretending that it is what it ain't. You're not doing that. You're giving them a raw, real feeling of what you experienced and what you have observed about these people that you're talking to them about, what they've taken you through. You're just being real, but it's being translated back to you as being ill feelings. You can't tell somebody the truth about what you've lived without them holding it over your head and making it seem, I don't want to say making you feel, but they're trying to impress upon you that you are the one that should be the bigger person. And they haven't even done half the work. Going back to the problem is not a success. That's not a win. And then some of them tell you, oh, you should work it out. Work it out after all I just told you about what this person is deliberately trying to hurt me, sabotage my life. Go back to them? Huh. Well. And when you're traumatized and you're going through stuff like that, we don't realize that that person is no good for us, that we're going to. And this is when we find out later on in our healing that a lot of time we think we're going to the right person that ends up giving us the wrong advice. Go to God. Get in isolation. Meditate. Get along with your own thoughts. Look at the pros and cons of that situation. You speak your truth on paper. You write a line down the middle. You write one side. What were the upsides of this relationship? What was the drawbacks of this relationship? I did it with cigarettes 20 something years ago. What are the benefits of smoking? What are the drawbacks of smoking? And a guy told me, if you can find one good thing about smoking, he said, keep smoking. And on that left side of that paper, I couldn't write honestly. And this was a critical thought process. Can't just, off the cuff, oh, I like them. No, that's not a definite, that's not a infinite or absolute. That's a broad opinion or statement. You have to be a little more definitive than that. And I could not think of not one good thing that cigarettes did for me. But on the right side, they stink. They're expensive, even at $2.50 back in '97. If I'm correct, someone correct me if I'm not correct. I think there was two and a quarter or $2 out on the street, and this was in prison when I gave it up. They were $2.50 or $2.25. And so my bigger point is, on the right side, they stink. They're expensive. They, your breath stink. When you run out, you're craving them. When you got to bum off other people when you run out of money. That list went on and on and on. And the more I started writing on that right side, I got a hot hand. I was writing things I had never thought about before. And on that same type of piece of paper, you can do that with what was this relationship? What was beneficial about this relationship? And if you say it was sex and you know that you felt like you got a benefit from that, it was fun. If you think deep and hard, or not even that deep, the repercussions after the intimacy with a narcissist, you feel like you just slept with a trick, or you're the trick. You felt like this was a transaction, to say the least. Doesn't feel like two bodies coming together as one. When you first meet them and you are intimate with them, it's an illusion that we somehow play on ourselves. Because Sam Vaknin, the professor of psychology, who has been diagnosed twice, if not 3 times, as having sadistic narcissistic personality disorder, has said these very, very same things. When you're having sex with the narcissist, they're actually having sex with themselves. They're using you as a sex toy. No different than if they were using an artificial toy. Just keeping it a buck, You're an object is what I'm saying. You're not a physical person. There's no bond. They don't bond with you. And so back on point, this is how people will try to make you feel, or try to make it appear to you, even though you haven't given any indicators that you have any ill will or ill feelings towards them. You're just expressing the real feelings of what you experienced. Just a thought, guys. As you heal, be mindful that that is not something you must embrace about what was real. Don't ever think you have ill feelings towards these demons when you're just calling it what it is. Stand on business. That being said, BLEZZ.